So here we are, Trev. Exciting times as we sit here on your 30th anniversary.
Yes, it's quite a shocking concept, really.
And here we are. Well, let's start there. Let's start at the beginning with the idea.
The idea was when I was at HHCL, Hal Henry Caldecott Lurie, it was the best agency around, but I did feel a bit frustrated. Namely, I really wanted to be involved with directing my own work. And at the time, no one else was doing that in this country. There's some people doing it in the States and a guy doing it in Amsterdam. And me and Al were frustrated. We would work on these projects for half a year sometime to get to shooting, and you would give it to these directors. And some of them, they liked the idea, but they just didn't understand it, or they didn't really get it like the way we did. And we lived with the ideas, and we could kind of escalate the idea as opposed to giving it to somebody else. And we said, why don't we form an agency? We had no clients, very stupid. That was one of the things I would have said to my younger self, get some clients before you decide to start your own agency. We were lucky enough, Al Henry wanted us to be involved with shooting the Apple Tango ads just before we left. So it was a parting kind of goodwill gesture.
So tell us, where did the name Quiet Storm come from?
It's really funny. The name for Quiet Storm kind of came from back in those days. Everybody was trying to seem as sensible and reassuring to clients, and so it was taken from all the lawyers. Everybody used to have like Jameson and Saatchis and JWT and all these companies, and it was all about making people feel secure with it, we're a big grown-up thing. But it didn't seem to sit right to me. And I think it was a naughty thing, whereas your own company, you go, well, we could call it what we want. And it was a club at the time when I was still going out clubbing at that point. And it used to be in, I think, where Savile Row was, and it was called next to the Gaslight Club. And if you couldn't get into Quiet Storm, we all met at the Gaslight Club, and I could never get into Quiet Storm. But the name, when we was kicking around names, I always loved the name Quiet Storm. It sounds like us. It's not too screamy, not too full of itself, but we like the intrigue in the Quiet Storm. So
the place that people wanted to go and visit.
Yeah.
So we have a name, we have a space, we have a frustration, and a want to direct your own work, which I know is one of the reasons why, you are, as a fully independent agency, you're both also a production company as well. Tell us more about why that was so important and the benefits that has brought you.
Well, the production side to it is where everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody has, there's no, I used to think there was a lot of fat in agencies, a lot of people where you kind of go, what do they do again? As a production company, you had that headset, even with the agency. We didn't have a lot of people sat around that the clients would have to pay for. As an agency, there's a kind of freedom and honesty. Everybody takes responsibility for the work and feels an investment towards the work as well. Feels like we're all creating this together.
And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking to myself, it really feels like one team, one dream. And I'm also sensing the benefits of that closeness. You were saying about having your clients there on the shoot. I imagine there's almost like an emotional attachment that comes with the idea of being present as well.
I think that's probably why I've worked with quite a lot of my clients for such a long time. They can feel how much I love, and the people that I work with love what we do and love trying to make the best out of what we can do as possible.
So time flies when you're having fun. And as you mentioned earlier, you've got lots of long-standing clients. And I'm sure there's many people in the industry that's kind of going, what's the magic that allows that to be the case?
I think it's a similar thing with Haribo and a similar thing with when we work with Zoe. As long as you produce and do what you say you're going to do, there's an honest contract that happens. And there's a friendship, a weird friendship that happens because, you're involved with making their brands famous, and you're also involved with making them successful. We've just recently been given the Walls brand from one of the clients that we used to work with on Young's Seafood. And we had great fun working with our clients, and we had some great successes with them, and they come back to you as well. I don't mind if my creators want to win awards. I think that's great. But my main objective is to do things that work with real people, that real people will want to see again and again and want to talk about. It's really interesting when you ask people, they ask you, what do you do? And you have to go, oh, well, I do, I do ads. And they go, like what? And then you say Haribo, and they all immediately melt and become childlike themselves. Go, oh, really? I love that.
Yeah, and it's a piece of work where human insight is at the core. I've never really realised actually how globally adaptable that piece of work is, being able to do the voiceover in every single country and the nuances that work culturally as well. What seems to be a clear theme from the work that we've just described is that the client is bold, and the work that you've created is bold, and you've had many creative ideas over the last 30 years. What was your boldest creative idea?
Oh, that's an interesting one, because it's like sometimes it's like, for instance, you would have imagined the boldest creative idea we would have done was a tango one. It doesn't seem that now, but at the time there wasn't anything like it. So it was like, I was thinking this is either going to bomb horribly and we're back on the dole again, or it's going to be something that's going to really catch on. But I think the boldest one, weirdly enough, is it was with on Haribo, actually, when we first came up with that idea. Because Herwig I've shared lots of ideas with him on that the inner child concept, but this one was quite different, and I didn't realize how different, because you basically, the client had to buy ideas with not having a script. You had to record with the kids first, and then we get you pull together the script, and then you pull together where it's going to take place, the boardroom, the policeman, all those things come from what the kids say. And that was quite a brave thing for a client to, hey, the purity of this, it has to seem honest and spontaneous and real. Otherwise it's cheesy. So, but when kids say it, it tastes like clouds. It makes me feel love. It's like, it's what kids say, and you're using their actual terms and what they spontaneously say. So it had to have that purity. So we had to do a test film to show. I said, look, this is going to be brilliant, but I get your trepidation about it. We did a test film. You're doing something interesting when it makes people feel slightly uncomfortable.
And I think as I'm listening, I can see how important that test film must have been.
Yeah. You got to have that trust. Otherwise, they're not going to let you dangle. And also, if you deliver, it builds on that, because they can, I've had situations before when Herwig's come in and said, look, and actually said to the room, if you're not slightly nervous, then Trev's not doing his job. And that's really lovely when the client's defending you. That's awesome, and yeah.
You're empowering brands to feel brave because of the relationships you've built.
Yeah.
So we talk about the great work, the ideas, the agency that you've founded and that you've built, but that's not all you do. It's not just award-winning ideas. There's also a lot that you do to also help the profession. Can you tell us some more about your activism and some of the initiatives that you've created?
I think as long as Quiet Storms has been around, we've always done stuff. For Helen Bamber was all about trying to stop sex trafficking. We've done stuff for Child Helpline, done stuff for Crime Stoppers and stuff, all sorts of stuff. I always feel everybody in the company gets a massive out of doing something with a heart, something where you can give back. And one of the things that always struck me was there was so much talented people where I grew up. And so I really wanted to go back to my old school. I really wanted to get them into, look, advertising it has so much rewards in it, so much feeling of self-belief. But also I was aware that the industry, till this day, you just don't see many black creatives. So that's why I really wanted to get involved with that. And we came up with Create Not Hate, which did exactly that. And it was about bringing, and the first time we did it was No, it was about knife and gun crime because I heard on the news my old school some kid had been stabbed to death there, and I thought, you know what, let's go back there, use that project. This is something that's going to mean something to them right then at that point. That was quite great success. We made a short film out of it. Everybody involved with it. They were from creating posters to being editors to being behind the camera. That was really important, and I got started off quite a few guys that's gone on to do successful things. Started there, and then it was hard to maintain it and run an agency. If I'm honest, we're not a big agency with backers, so you got to go back to the daytime job and service the clients that you're with. So it kind of dwindled for a bit, and it came back because of George Floyd, really. And when he was murdered, I was really super angry. And Rania just turned to me and goes, look, why don't you channel that somewhere positive? Why don't we get Create Not Hate up and running again? And we did the first project when we first came back was through, the big question, how do you stop racism, especially with nowadays, seems to have gotten even worse worldwide. But it was something that felt really important and exciting, and some of the guys that were on a course came and even joined Quiet Storm. It was Emmanuel who wrote the Romeo and Juliet thing. If you have never seen that, you should check it out. It's a brilliant piece of work, and he helped to direct it with us. It's a really rewarding. I've never had any impulses to be a teacher or anything involved with that, because I know what kind of a horror I was as a student. But I do get a massive amount of it, and I hope it's something that we can be involved with going forward as well.
And although you haven't said it, you also got an OBE for that award. So massive well done.
Thank you. I didn't see that coming either. That was not one of my ambitions, but it was very moving to have that, and to have my wife, my son, and my mum to go into Buckingham Palace to be getting an honour like that. It was an amazing time.
Incredible. And I know that, you're well known in the industry globally for the work that you've done. So I have to finish our section with the following question. Ooh. What one piece of advice would you give to those creatives listening of tomorrow?
I think all I would say is always stay true to what a big idea is, and like be involved with trying to create something, as opposed to trying to create a persona, trying to create what you think advertising wants. I think you need to develop your love first and foremost. Mine was coming up with ideas and being involved with the creative process, and that's still to this day is the thing that I love. I don't even have to come up with the ideas. I just want to be involved with the creative process, and it is great fun. But I guess people need to realize the big idea is always the most important thing.
Perfect.